If you've been on the internet anytime recently, you will likely have heard of a certain web series called ENA, particularly because of its latest entry in the form of a game that released earlier this year, Dream BBQ. It's been kind of a breakout success for the series, going from already popular in its indie niche to being talked about by many more creators and having a wider audience. The whole series is known for its highly abstract plot, and Dream BBQ is no different. A lot of people have debated the meaning of its seemingly incoherent story. It marks a big shift in ENA, both in narrative and visuals. This time, we'll go through the game's key elements and attempt to go over the story and how it relates to the rest of the ENA entries. So, let's begin and get ourselves into this bizarre and intriguing world. ENA started out as a smaller project by Peruvian artist Joel G, a Newgrounds animator previously known for other animated projects, until February 2020, when he came up with an idea for a web series, with what turned out to be the Pablo Picasso-inspired titular character ENA, living in a digital world inspired by the early internet. The episodes followed very nonsensical plots with surreal visuals that over time began to get animated to resemble a video game. With first-person movement and dialogue cutscenes, the show likes to draw influences from a lot of different media to animate their scenes, from movies to music videos or even art pieces by contemporary painters. A lot of the scenes take direct inspiration from things like LSD Dream Emulator and Microsoft XL95's Hall of Tortured Souls, again drawing from computer designs and old video games from the 90s. The series was already a phenomenon of its own, becoming quite popular over a short amount of time. Eventually, the teaser for an episode, Dream BBQ, was turned into an announcement for an official game, with an episodic release schedule. After a couple years of waiting, the first chapter was released on March 27 this year, getting a huge following right after. Now, let's head on to the main story. You start in the middle of an atmospheric village with blacked out buildings and a blood-red sky, wandering around until you stumble upon a bed-shaped door that will take you to the main area. You meet Froggy, the main supporting character and your employer, who gives you the main objective. He gives you the order to find a certain boss. He leaves unclear whether you should have to defeat it or just find it. He just tells you that it's the quote-unquote work target. All of a sudden, smoke fills the area and you get an immediate order to clear it since it's blocking the way to find the boss. After talking to a receptionist downstairs, you find out that you have to enter somewhere called the Lonely Door and ask a genie to put it out. You spend the rest of the chapter inside the Lonely Door, wandering around in search of the genie. The game continues in a similar fashion to that of a regular ENA episode. While playing as this version of ENA, you advance the story by completing jobs that you get from speaking to the NPCs. You go around exploring the map and retrieving items to give to the characters, or using them to interact with the world and discovering secrets. The surrealist art style remains the staple of the ENA series. The environments are all very dreamlike and atmospheric, and the characters are all drawn in very different techniques that just seem to somehow fit together. Just like in the series, Dream BBQ also draws its fair share of nods and shoutouts, but also has its own particular visual style that differs from that of the web series. A lot of the imagery from the maps and the character designs are inspired by older Peruvian civilizations. The surfaces from the main area follow similar patterns to those of textile art from the Incan Empire. A couple of characters you encounter also draw similarities, like this one called the Tasky Maiden with Chamorro figures, or this other one called Me Too, who likes to use 4-letter words when she speaks, following a similar design to that of a ceremonial knife called a Tumi from the Mocha culture. Some other characters also resemble the look of deities from the Sogna mythology of Chile. All these other styles impact the look of the game, slightly changing it into something a little more moody and maybe industrial. Dream BBQ being a game also allows for more replay value and different possible routes that make each playthrough different. There are 2 possible ways to complete your mission and 2 possible outcomes that branch from there. Most players on their first run will not get to complete all the jobs they're offered. Usually their sense of exploration will instead take them to the taxi, which they will be able to go on after retrieving the driver's head from a building. This will take them to the so-called Purge event, an illegal party-like setting in which you have to pay one of your arms to get inside a psychedelic Japanese temple with rooms and NPCs. As you go further, a weird liquid will start to fill the room. Sometimes you will be able to see a different location from a distance, which is a callback to one of the episodes from the original web series, Extinction Party. Eventually, you will all turn into creatures similar to those of the Nazca culture artifacts, and see them fight and eat each other. You are then transported to somewhere called the bathroom. This is your way to meet the genie, a dark area with a glowing white river to cross. But the bridge appears to not work, so if you follow this route, you're most likely gonna fall into the river. In the end, you're taken to somewhere called the Lost Village, a place where you only get to see a broken version of the genie and proceed with the end of the chapter. There is another way to reach the bathroom in a more satisfying way. The other route you can take is achieved if you complete all of your jobs, by finding the pets, buying from the vending machine, clearing the bridge and rescuing a witch on the other side. Once you claim the items from your completed jobs, the last character, the shaman, will give you the final item called the human board, which is essentially a portable staircase. You can use it to climb it up to the sky with a big platformer section that takes you to a floating island. Once you arrive at the bathroom again, you can use the board to cross the bridge and finally enter the giant bathroom stall. In there you will find a wishing well and meet the real genie of the Lonely Door, Theodora, who is also inspired by textile art from the Paracas culture. You get to ask her for a couple of wishes, but she only ends up granting one, to clear the smoke. The chapter ending is the same for both routes. You destroy a kettle statue, get a call from Froggy, walk around the grey world that looks like the one from the original ENA episodes, and get stuck in the Lonely Door. The chapter ends with ENA's body disintegrating, leaving behind a mannequin and respawning in the main area. Aside from Dream BBQ's already weird story, ENA as a whole is very cryptic and it's difficult to decipher a single cohesive meaning out of everything. Many different theories from viewers have arisen to explain the character of ENA and the story surrounding her. The main one is about who ENA is herself. ENA is frequently regarded by other characters as a group. Maybe ENA might be a collective of people or even a different species entirely, or possibly a single entity that got split into many different bodies, which could explain why they spawn from the mannequins. It's somewhat debated whether the ENA from the series is the same one from the game. She's more or less considered a different character, but we know that there is at least a certain link between them. Additionally, revealed in the episode Power of Potluck, the final scene with the therapist reveals that she secretly wishes for joy, which is also alluded to in the only wish you can make to Theodora in the game that strays from most of the main story. A popular theory on Dream BBQ is that she is some sort of war veteran or has been involved in some sort of violence, which is why most other characters seem to keep their distance and show a certain rejection toward her. As far as the story itself, people have attributed themes like work, mental health, and consumerism, with multiple motifs hinting at some sort of economic collapse, and a lot of them about consumption in general. And there is also many other aspects that it continues or develops upon the original web series. It's a convention that many characters tend to say the opposite of what they mean, one example being the receptionist in the casino room, or that scene with the dolphin in the show.
Prepare to scrap! Kerpow!
Why is everyone punching me so softly today?
Quit the hitting and finish the job! Whoa.
Overall, the game served as a great expansion to everything ENA as a series managed to offer, at a level of visual aesthetic, story, and as a new interactive episode of this indie project. ENA has only started as a series on YouTube since the year 2020, and it's kind of weird to think that it has gotten this far. It somehow feels like it was always present on the internet, or at least that it's not as recent as it currently is. But then again, it's really hard to think that 5 years have passed since the start of 2020, most likely 6 years for when you're watching this video. This new episode in the form of an interactive game seems very promising. They really hit what they were aiming for. It genuinely does feel like you're playing one of the animated episodes from the series. As of now, we'll continue waiting and looking forward for whatever comes next in this wonderful, absurd experience.